Hello, this is the Sunday school lesson for September 25th, 2011 from the Uniform International Sunday School Lesson Series. Sunday's lesson comes to us from the book of Proverbs, chapter 25, verses 1 through 10. The adult topic from the Adult Christian Life Sunday School book, and this is published by the R.H. Boyd Publishing Company, is neighborly advice. The unifying topic is wisdom and discernment. And I want to divide the lesson into three different areas. The first section of scripture, Proverbs chapter 25, verses 1 through 5, I want to call this section of scriptures, I want to call this royal wisdom, because this is a wisdom that comes to us from a royal source. And this is what we have from the New International Version. These are more Proverbs of Solomon, copied by the men of Hezekiah, king of Judah. It is the glory of God to conceal a matter. To search out a matter is the glory of kings. As the heavens are high and the earth is deep, so the hearts of kings are unsearchable. Remove the dross from the silver, and out comes material for the silversmiths. Remove the wicked from the king's presence, and his throne will be established through righteousness. Now, first, I want to make a remark about King Hezekiah, who is copying this wisdom, these proverbs from Solomon. Hezekiah was the king of Judah at the time that the northern kingdom, Israel, was taken into captivity by the Assyrians. It's important to point out that it's good to search for wisdom in times of crisis. This is a crisis situation that Hezekiah is ruling under, because his northern brethren have now been taken into captivity. They've been taken into exile, and Hezekiah is looking for some answers. How do I avoid the same fate? How do I avoid the same sort of thing happening to my kingdom of Judah? So Hezekiah has some of his scribes, some of his scholars to research some of the things that the great King Solomon had said before. And they take the time to copy these things down so that Hezekiah may read them, that he may study them, and that he may live by them. And it is the glory of God to conceal a matter, but to search out a matter is the glory of kings. And we serve a God who has so many mysteries, so many things hidden from us. Sometimes we're not ready for the things of God. Sometimes he keeps things from us because we're not mature enough to handle them. But if a king, someone who rules over a people, will take the time to apply himself to God's will and God's way, that will give glory to that king, because people will be saying that this king is so wise, this king is so understanding. And we have Solomon as an example, of course, because Solomon, the first thing he asked for when he became king of Israel, he did not ask for riches, he did not ask for fame, he did not ask for the heads of his enemies. No, Solomon asked simply for wisdom. He asked that he might know the things of God so that he could rule the people of God. As the heavens are high and the earth is deep, so the hearts of kings are unsearchable. And not just any type of king, but the type of king that searches out the matters that God has concealed. Now, a king that only searches for wealth, well, after a while you kind of learn and figure out how this king is scheming. Kings that are only searching for means of maintaining power. Again, you can see the political workings, you can see all of the political shenanigans going on, so it's not hard to figure out a king like that. But a king who constantly studies for truth, a king that constantly prays for truth, prays for understanding. This is a king that you really have to get time, you really have to make time to get to know and understand. And even then, this king is going to do things that you don't understand, because this is a king that does things not according to the way that man thinks, but according to the way God thinks. And this is not simply advice for kings. This is advice for, I think it's advice for everybody, because after all, in a way, we are all kings and queens. We all rule over our households, no matter how small they are. We rule over our own affairs, no matter how meager they are. We rule over our own stuff. So as Solomon ruled over a united kingdom, as Hezekiah ruled over a divided kingdom, and they needed to seek this royal wisdom to keep their kingdoms intact, so must we also search for the royal wisdom that is given not because of wealth, not because of politics, not because of our family name, but it's given because of searching for God. Verses 4 and 5 are definitely a pair in themselves. If you remove dross from silver, out comes the material for silversmiths. Well, consider for a moment. Silver being a precious metal. All precious metals have these impurities in them. In order to get the impurities out of a precious metal, you have to heat them to such high temperatures that either, one, those impurities are going to burn off, or two, those impurities will rise to the surface or sink to the bottom. And then when you skim off the impurities, or you're able to skim off the precious metal from the impurities, what you have is a precious metal that a silversmith can work with. As long as you have those impurities in the metal, a silversmith or goldsmith or whatever precious metal it is, they can't do anything with it. They can't give it an accurate weight because it's not pure. They can't mold it into jewelry or put it into currency because it isn't pure. So the goal is purity. And this is also seen in that 5th verse where it says, remove the wicked from the king's presence. Now, just as you have the impurities in metal, you have some impure advisors. You have some impure staff members. You have some impure members of the king's court. And these people will ruin a royal administration. But if you take the wicked from the king's presence, then the throne will be established through righteousness. The throne will be established through true justice, through true mercy, through the true rule of law, and through the way that best serves the people. And again, I'm not just mentioning this as far as kings, queens, presidents, governors, what have you, But even in our own personal lives, there is something about purity that we ought to be seeking. And in our seeking of purity, we also should take the time to remove the wicked influences. Remove those things from our lives that we know are going to bring us down. If we don't remove these things, then our judgment is clouded by temptation. Our ability to focus on the things of God is clouded by our physical desires. So the impure has to be burned off. The impure has to be skimmed off the top, or it has to sink to the bottom in the high heat of prayer, in the high heat of meditation, in the high heat of worship, in the high heat, most of all, of following God.